welcome to the Treehouse on this wonderful, hot, sunny afternoon in April, of all things.
I know.
And a very warm and sunny welcome to my guest today, which is Molly Looby,
Yes.
or Terry.
Yeah.
Because you got married, didn't you?
I did, yeah, last year.
So,
I'm still using
who are
Looby
you?
as my pen name.
Molly
is.
Looby.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Molly Looby, author, self-published and hybrid published as well. Yeah, from Essex.
Yep.
And you came, you're in Burnham now, aren't you?
Yes.
Burnham on Crouch. But did you live in South Woodham?
Yeah, I lived in South Woodham.
So I
when
grew
was
up in South
growing
Woodham.
up, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Molly is another guest in my treehouse that I've never met until today. So it's lovely to meet you at last, because we have had some toing and froing of emails for quite a few months.
Yes.
From the end of last year.
Yeah.
Because how I discovered you was listening to Paul Teague's podcast, where you were interviewed a couple of years ago now, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember when that was now.
2016,
yeah,
I think.
I think you're right, yeah.
But I was really impressed. I like Paul anyway. I love his interviewing technique, and he has some good guests on. And the fact that you came from Essex.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've got to get in touch with this author, and you were just down the road. So
yeah,
this is brilliant. Now you're in the Treehouse. So welcome to the Treehouse.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk about you and your writing journey. Mm-hmm. And you started very young, didn't you?
Yes.
And you're still very young now. What am I talking about? You're still really young. 23, half my age. But you started when you were 14, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was 14.
So, writing seriously?
Yeah, pretty much. So I've always loved reading my entire life. That's all I would do. But it was one summer holidays, the internet went out. I don't know why, I can't remember. And I thought, well, I don't know what else to do. I'll just write a chapter of something that I just sort of had been thinking about, and that was it. I have not stopped since. I didn't really mean to write this chapter, and then 3 months later I'd finished it, and then I went.
So it became a book.
Yeah, it became a book. It became a book. It was just over 50,000 words.
Yeah.
And then I thought,
how long did it take to do that?
It was July through to October.
Right.
And then it was only about 2 weeks after that I thought, I have to write again. I couldn't, and I still can't. I can't stop. As soon as I've finished writing, it's only a couple of weeks and I go, right, what can I write now?
So it's become a habit that you... Yeah, it's become a fully fledged, grown, ingrained, habitual part of your character.
It's part of who I am now,
Yeah, you are a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's wonderful because, like, as I said, briefly when we first met just a few minutes ago, that I'm a writer. I've always been a writer, but never in the context of the sort of writer you've been.
Yeah.
I never used to write the volume of words that you've written. I was writing poems and short stories and then songs, and now it's stories of some length, book length. But I mean, you've always written book length stories.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just because I've always read books. So I've tried writing short stories and I actually find that harder. 1,000 times harder than writing a novel. Yeah, I find writing a novel is just, that's the length for me that I can write. Yeah. I've tried writing shorter. I've tried writing flash fiction. I can't do that either. That's too small.
Too short.
And then short stories I find really awkward because it's long and short at the same time.
You have to condense everything.
I can't write like that. I can only write novels. So I think it's because that's all I've written. I didn't experiment with different things. I've just always written novels.
Okay.
So
do you think that's for the foreseeable future? Do you think that's going to continue, or do you think maybe you might delve into different aspects of the craft, or do you think it'll always be long novel stories?
At the moment, I think it'll just always be novels, and they keep getting longer as well.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So
blimey, you're going in the other direction then.
The first novel I wrote was 50,000 words. The one that I've just finished, which is the longest thing I've ever written, was 120,000 words.
You're joking.
I know.
120,000
I kept going and kept going and not get to the end, and I kept saying to everyone who asked me, it's too long. I know it's too long, but I can't stop before the end. And that's the problem when you don't plan a plot, when you just have the characters.
Okay, yeah. Now, okay, so we're up to the present day. You're talking about what you've just written, 120,000 words. Now, is that the sequel to your book?
It is, actually, yes. Which...
Sorry, I haven't take your book.
It's fine.
This is Molly's published book that we're going to talk about, ZA.
Yes.
But you've just finished a sequel to it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's huge. It should not be that long. The problem was... This was a standalone book. It shouldn't have a sequel, but all my readers, everybody who read it, said, "What happens next?"
Oh, I'm glad it has, because I just finished it this morning. I'm glad there's a sequel to look forward to.
I thought I'd
sitting right there in that chair at 6:30 this morning. I've got to finish this book. I'm interviewing this guy today.
Because I thought I'd left them. I didn't want to finish the apocalypse because that didn't make sense. I'd only just started it. I thought I'll put them in a safe-ish place and. That's fine. It was not fine. People want to know what happens next. So then I started thinking about it, and I've taken... It's a different character's point of view. They don't know the people from ZA at the beginning of the book. They meet them as they go, because I've written Zane's story. That was the story he told me. I say that like... That's the way I work. It's like, he's not me. He's separate from me, and I've told his story. I can't go back to him. That's the whole lot. So I had to find new characters, and I say like they walked into my head. And when I say that to my dad specifically, he goes, "That sounds crazy," because he doesn't understand. But so I wrote these new character stories and found out I couldn't stop writing. There was so much I didn't realise how big this book was going to be.
Fantastic.
But yeah.
So you definitely start with a character.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, because I want to get into your process as well. But just rewinding a little bit, back to ZA. Now, that's... How many thousands of words is this?
I originally...
60?
That one's
70?
about... it changed. It was longer, and then I cut it. I think it's about 90,000 words. The font's quite small because... I didn't want it to look like that on the shelf because it's
a nice book though, isn't it? It's
I love the paper. So pleased with it.
I love the paper.
Yeah, I do.
And this is something that you published yourself.
Yes.
With your own publishing company.
Yes. Yeah.
Molten Publishing.
Yeah.
Love the logo.
Thank you. So do I. I love the logo. Yeah.
Love that. And it's a business that you run with your dad.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice to have a business with your dad.
Yeah.
Who does all the work?
Nice. Oh, depends what you mean by work. All the book stuff, that's my area. He loves books as well, but he doesn't know them the way that I know them. And he knows about business. He's had his own business for almost 15 years, so he knows about, the actual stuff you need to know about that I don't really know about. Yeah. He sorts all that out for me.
Yeah, good. I'm glad there's somebody that does all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't know. That would put me off a lot.
Yeah. But you concentrate on the writing.
Yeah.
And do you have other authors that you? Well, obviously you do have other authors that you publish.
Yeah.
So what do you do for them? What is your job?
We do. It's business books mostly because we're hybrid. So the author puts in money at the beginning and then we split it 50-50 at the end. The idea is that the money they give us, that's as much as we're putting in as well, because we pay for. So I do all the editing. Okay. So that helps pay for my wages, and we have. I get someone online to do the typesetting, so how it actually looks on the page, because I can do that, but it takes me 5 times as long to do it because that's not a skill it's fine, but it's not I typeset that and it took me at least 2 weeks. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, so, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you don't even think about until you go about doing it yourself, and then it's like, it matters how it looks on the page, and then I got obsessed with, where the lines and how it all looks, and you can't undo that once you flick that switch. Now every time I look at a book, I go, "Oh, how's it typeset?" So sad.
Is it justified? Is it justified?
I know.
Where's the chapter headings?
I know.
Yeah, I can understand that. So okay, so that's a 50-50 split. So do they have creative control?
So we own the rights, the book rights. Yeah. But they're usually business people, so they will buy a whole load and then they'll sell them at their events and stuff. So they mostly, so they're the stuff that they put in, if it's about their business, if it's a business model, that's theirs, that belongs to them. But the words in the book, in that order, they belong to us. But their business and stuff still belongs to them. If they print their process or whatever, that still belongs to them.
Okay, so is that a conscious decision that you've made just to do non-fiction business books, or is it just the way that it's evolved?
It's the way it's evolved, because we're doing YA, but it's hard to find someone who's close enough that I can, actually see them in real life. I'd much prefer to be able to talk to someone face to face. And then YA takes double the amount of time because it's all creative decisions, where in a business book it's not so much that.
I understand
because
what you're saying.
it either is or isn't right. So when someone's telling me about their business, that's the way they do
business.
it, and that's it. There's no oh, what if they did this, or what? There's none of that. So it's quicker as well.
Okay, so again, sort of rewind back to ZA.
Yeah.
And so you published that through your own company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was this a production from NaNoWriMo? Can you explain to anybody that's watching what NaNoWriMo is?
Yes. The amount of times I've explained this.
Yeah, I bet you have.
I always mention it
again,
and then people go, what is that? So it's National Novel Writing Month, which is where you write 50,000 words in 30 days, which is 1,666 or 67 every single day for 30 days. And when I first started doing it, it was only about 100,000 writers, and now it's 500,000 plus every year.
Is there really?
Yeah.
How long have they been going for?
Since 1999.
Is it?
I haven't been doing it that long, obviously. But
it's 19 years.
Yeah, the first year I did it, it stressed me out. I only just reached the word count every day, and I said, never again, I will never do this again. But needless to say, every year.
How old were you when you did it first?
It was 2009, so I was...
Okay.
How old was I in 2009? I was about 15. I'd only been writing a
Molly,
year.
15 years old. I did my first Nano at 50 years old. Crumbs, you were doing it then. Wow.
Yeah, the first year was so hard. I struggled every word.
Did you?
Yeah, but then the second year I said I'm going to write 2,000 a day so that I've got some leeway.
You've got a bit of a buffer.
Ever since then I've done that. Now I make myself write 2,500, pushing it up. But that is really hard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words in a day.
Every
day.
That's full time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I found when I did Nano that it gave me an insight into what I imagine writing full time would be for me anyway.
Yeah.
At first, because I was absolutely knackered at the end of the day, or night time. Sometimes, because I've got family and other things going on as well. So if I didn't get my words done during the day, I had to then make that up in the evening.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge.
It's not easy. No,
it's a real challenge.
Yeah.
And what is your process when you're doing Nano? Or when you're creating a story, when you're writing anyway? What do you plan beforehand? Do you outline? Do you plot? What do you do?
I outline my characters in so much detail. I have this character questionnaire, I call it. It's 6 pages long, so it's everything. It's their family, how they grew up, what their situation is now, what they're most scared of. The hardest one is what's their deepest secret. I always have to try and think of something. It's not always relevant, but sometimes it really is. And then what they look like, and then I do that for every character in the book.
Can I ask you about the deepest? That's really intriguing. The deepest secret. Do they always reveal that to you?
No, and sometimes I have to leave it blank because I have no idea what it is.
The story.
Yeah, or sometimes if they're a character, because I write about teenagers, they have parents, and their parents either are or aren't involved in the story. And if they're not, I can skim past some of that because I know they're not. They're just they're teenagers. They have parents, but they might not be relevant to the story.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that's
you've got a teenager like my son who doesn't even want to know his parents at the moment. 15, 16. Yeah. You know how it is. Okay, so this was a result of Nano, was a production of Nano.
Yeah, so that was actually my very first Nano in 2009, was that I just wrote 50,000 words, and then in 2015 I knew I needed to start from scratch. So there are new characters in that one than in the original. Different people die, different things happen.
I see.
It's not only the bare basics are the same, so I rewrote it again for Nano in 2015, and it ended up being double the length of the original. But yeah, I love these characters. They are good
characters.
Thank you.
They are good characters. I really enjoyed it. I thought the end of the story what I was reading this morning, it was kind of edge of the seat stuff.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh no!
The day I wrote the ending, I wrote so many words that day, and I had the theme, the sort of I don't know what you call it, the bit at the end of 28 Days Later, if you've ever seen that, the music that runs through the end of that zombie film, I had that on repeat. It's 15 minutes long, this song, and I had it on repeat, and it really and it was the dead of winter.
You write with music going on, do you?
No, usually I don't, apart from this one time, because I usually struggle with making things longer at the end when there's action, so that's the only time I've ever really said, so they go here, and then they go here, and then they go here, and I only knew where they were going to end up. I didn't know what was going to happen between each bit. Yeah.
But don't you think, as a writer, that's half the enjoyment?
Most definitely.
Of the enjoyment of writing is not knowing, because I think if I knew exactly everything that was going to happen, because I'd written and plotted it and out, whatever, I'd planned it all, that I knew whatever, what it was going to happen in every chapter from beginning to the end, I would get so bored.
Yeah.
I would get so bored, and surely the reader would get bored as well.
That's funny you should say that, because in 2015 when I rewrote that, I wasn't rewriting that. I was writing something else for Nano, but I'd planned it everything, beginning to end, and I got 3 days into Nano, and I thought, I don't care. I know how it's going to end. So
bored.
Exactly. So I threw it out and I just started writing that.
Good for you.
I can't. Some people have to plan everything before they even start. I can't, because if I do that, I won't finish it.
No.
So I already know how they're going to get to the end. Usually I know the ending, but I don't know how they're going to get there.
No, that's right. That's right, and that's half the. Well, it's the it's where you enjoy what you're doing, don't you? By not knowing. Because that's how the creative process unfolds, with the unfolding of time.
Yeah.
Okay, now zombies. I have to talk to you about zombies. Why? I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I've not had a lot of interest in zombies, right? Until the last few months. Yeah. My sons have. We've been watching Walking Dead.
Yeah. I love Walking Dead.
Now, I went for a walk with my son this morning because we watched the last of series season 7 last night. Yeah, and we've got to wait until that season 8 comes out.
Yeah, I have that problem
on
as
DVD because we haven't got the set up, the internet set up that our children have. So, and I was saying to him this morning, I said, listen. Because he's got the comics as well, Walking Dead comics. So did your inspiration for this come from Walking Dead? Because, I mean, the comics came out in 2003. Yeah. And the actual screen series came out in 2010, I think he said. So it's been going for like 8 years. So and when did you write this?
2009, the original version. So I wrote about this.
I got it from you.
Just before The Walking Dead came out. So my dad's always loved zombie movies. That's how come I like them so much. Yeah. That's just something we always watched. Not when we were kids, but when I was a teenager. Really? Dad would say, let's watch. God. So we've watched Dawn of the Dead and we've watched Shaun of the Dead, which is one of my favourite films ever. Yeah. And I like the situation where everything falls so suddenly. That's it. Society's finished, and you have to try and work out what you're going to do.
Armageddon.
But so Walking Dead didn't exist, and then all of a sudden it came out, and I was so pleased because I thought this is great. People are going to get into zombies while the time this is working, but it didn't work out like that. So I didn't rewrite it until 2015, and now there might be too much zombie stuff going on. But
do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think there is.
If you're a zombie fanatic, then there's never enough, is there?
Yeah, no, but
enough zombies.
It's good that it's everybody, even if they don't watch The Walking Dead, they know what it is and they know that it's really big. So
because another thing I was asking my son this morning, because obviously I'm new to the zombie world. Yeah. Like I say, I wouldn't normally read YA or zombie stuff. Yeah. So it's been interesting for me. Plus it's an insight into the way you write as well, of course, which is great. I did enjoy the story.
Good.
I enjoyed the writing as well, which is good. So I'm looking forward to the sequel. Yeah. But is the principles with zombies? Does it cross all the stories? Like, for example, when you get bitten by a zombie. does that mean then you're infected with the virus? And is that across the board in all stories?
More or less, that's the only thing that's the same. Because sometimes zombies are really fast, sometimes they're really slow, sometimes they can like scratch you. In 28 Days Later, which is like crazy scary, just a drop of blood in your system will be in like 10 seconds. You'll be a zombie, and they're so fast. That's the scariest.
They don't die first.
They
just turn.
They just sort of turn, yeah.
Oh.
And you have 10 seconds to kill them before they're going to kill you back. Oh, but that was too scary for this, especially for teenagers. No, I better
not see that then, because I can tell you some of that. I mean, some of The Walking Dead, the one I watched last week, was I spent most of the time outside of the room.
They are getting worse.
Looking through the doorway, the hinge in the door. Honestly, it was terrible. I thought it was horrific.
They are getting more horrific as it goes on. Horrific. It didn't used to be that bad. The bit where
that's I think you know the scene
I know
I'm talking about. Negan.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
Lucille,
I know.
Just horrible. How can that be entertainment?
I know, but then you find you can't stop watching it because
you
need to know what happens next.
It's compelling. I said to my husband, I said, I just can't. He said, oh, Sheena, for God's sake. I said, I can't even get it. I can't even come through the door. But who is that? So who died then? Who was it? And then the next day, right, we're watching Walking Dead tonight then.
Yeah, I know. It's silly, isn't it? Because you go, I can't watch it, but I have to watch it. But I think it's all because of the characters. When I wrote mine, it was all about that, and then how they would deal with the situation. So I say to people who go, well, I don't really like zombies, and I say, well, you don't really have to. It's not about them.
No, it's not.
About people and how they band together
in a crisis. All stories are, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's about the story, it's about the characters, it's about the situations that you put these characters in, it's about their relationships between each other and the challenges, the conflicts that they face and what changes them, because that's what stories are about, isn't it? And that's where the magic is, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad you've written a sequel. And when's that coming out?
I don't know. This is the problem. Because it's so long.
Okay.
It's
Have
massive.
You just finished it, did you say?
I finished it in January. It was Nano again. I wrote it.
Okay.
I did write 50,000 words in November, but it was so long. It took me until January to finish it.
Okay.
Because it was just nearly 3 nanos worth. It's massive. Yeah. And I know it's too long. I know it is. And I need to decide what to keep, what needs to go. There's a character that I think I'm going to take out completely. So it needs so much work, and the problem I'm having is it's from a different character's point of view, so I'm thinking my readers are either going to get on board with that or they're just not going to. But that's a decision I had to make because I told Zane's story already.
Yeah, but could you not make it a trilogy? Could it be 2 books?
I know, but
Possibly?
There's no.
What do you think?
That's what people have said to me, because it's long enough. If I cut it in half, that is 2 books, but there's no climax in the middle. It's sort of a journey as it goes.
See what you mean.
So there's no middle point where I could have
cut off.
Yeah,
a little bit of closure before the next.
Yeah. If I did that, the first half would be rubbish compared to the second half. But altogether, it's this one big journey. So
yeah. Okay.
I know. That's the dilemmas I'm having.
Okay. Now, just kind of fast forwarding a bit to beyond that.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could write a series? Because as an indie, it's kind of like a good thing to do, isn't it? It seems to be sort of a good business model for a self-published author, is to write a series or a trilogy. So you've got that kind of sell-through. You've got whatever point people find that, if they read the first book, then they're going to carry on. Hopefully, then you will establish an audience that are sustainable, that you can maintain.
Yeah.
So can you see yourself doing that?
I can write trilogies. I've written
a trilogy?
I've written 2. I wrote the ones the first sort of things I wrote after my first book. After I wrote a book, I went, right, I'll write a trilogy now.
Oh.
So I wrote the trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Between the ages of 15 and 18, I wrote that trilogy.
No, don't tell me that.
And then
really?
Yeah. But I revisited it.
Did you publish them?
I self-published them, but I have since taken them down because now, it was when I brought ZA out, I took them down because I thought I don't want people to go, oh, I really like that, what else has she written? And find them. They're absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Just in comparison, I've progressed so much
grown
since
so
then.
Much.
Yeah.
Which you do, don't you, as a writer? And certainly in the time when you were sort of 14, 15
Yeah,
to now 23, that's a big
and
gap.
that's when I was learning how I like to write and what sort of characters I like and how best to do things. So some of it's a bit all over the place. But then I wrote a few books after that, and then I wrote another trilogy of which I never published, and I've since read back. And the first one reads really well, and the second two sort of fall apart because I got so into it. I just had to write really fast, and you can definitely tell.
Okay.
But the first one's fine. The second two sort of fall apart because you can tell I'm just in it because I love to write. I didn't write that trilogy for anyone else.
Can I just take you back to when you left school?
Yes.
When did you leave school?
I did sixth form, so I left when I was 18.
Okay. So I would imagine that quite a lot of your friends went on to uni?
Yes. Yeah. Most of them did. Yeah.
Did you ever think about uni?
I did. I applied and I got in, and I didn't go because I wanted to do ancient history, which is what I really love, ancient history. But then I thought I don't want a job in that. That's something that I love separate. I don't want to do that every day. If I find a documentary, I'll watch it, or if I find a book about it, I'll read it. It's not something I want to take over my whole life.
Right. Okay.
So I decided that was not what I wanted to do. And my dad said, "Why don't you do creative writing at uni?" And I said, "Well, no, I think I've been writing too long. I don't want someone to tell me how to write." Because I'd already by 18 I'd worked out how I like to write and what I like to write.
Good for
so
you.
I'd figured everything out. So I said, you know what, I don't want to go. If in the future I find a job that I'd like to do and you need a degree, I'll do it then when I need to.
Because let's face it, nowadays there are so many options that people change careers 2 or 3 times during their lives, if not more. And you've got mature students.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can do degrees whenever.
Yeah.
So good for you. That must have taken some courage. When all your peers are going in one direction, and you decide to, hunker down and say, no, I'm going to stick here with what I enjoy doing.
It's hard as well because I was always really bright at school. I got really good grades, so all my teachers expected me to go to university. And then when I said to them, especially because I'd applied and everything, and I said, you know what, actually I'm not going to go, they were like, what? Why aren't you going to go? And because obviously every teacher has been to university because you have to have a degree to be a teacher, so they couldn't understand why I didn't want to go when I could. When I did so well at A level, but it's not. I didn't want to spend.
You rebel.
I know.
You're a rebel.
I know. That's probably the craziest thing I've ever done in my life.
Good for you, girl. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
And you haven't looked back?
No. I simply don't want to go. I don't need a degree. I think that's the problem. Whereas my brother went because he's a drama student, so he is in plays and things, because he wanted to meet people who do drama, and he likes the whole of university, all the life and everything. So he's not doing it just for the degree, it's for the whole experience. Whereas if I did it, it would just be for the degree, but I don't need that, no, I don't want to go.
No, don't blame me.
No.
So what does Molly's working day as a writer look like?
If I'm writing, I make myself write 2,000 words a day, and I just do. So depending on what bit of the book I'm on, depends if I put it off till the very end of the day.
Oh God, you don't.
So
how do you do that?
Well, sometimes I'll look at it, and if I start a new chapter, I'll write the first paragraph before I leave it. I can't leave myself to start a new chapter because that's the hardest thing ever. Yeah. And I'll just sit in the chair until I do it. That really is all there is. But sometimes it's so hard and I don't want to. But other times I'll jump out of bed and I'll go to my laptop and I'll sit there all day. Yeah. Other times it's every word.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what you think about this, because I must admit, it's only really been in the last sort of, year or so that I've thought, right, this is seriously something that I want to follow as a career now, and signed up for a self-publishing online course, which I'm enjoying, but it's taking me forever to get through the course because I've only got one book that's been trad published and I now want to indie publish. But it's just I've been so distracted
Yeah.
by all the information, not only from the course but online, which is great on the one hand, but the flip side of the coin is that you get overstimulated and overwhelmed almost by all this knowledge and information that you think you need to take in all at once.
Oh yeah.
Which is what I normally, because I'm like that and impatient, I just want to know it all at once, but you can't.
No.
And you realise, so it's taken me this long to realise that actually, no, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And so I've now come back to, I just need to write.
Yeah.
To get on and write, because without writing, you've got nothing to publish.
No,
you've got nothing to market. And you've got nothing to sell.
Yeah.
So, but it's actually, and the point I'm trying to make is it's apart from taking me that long to realise it, but it's the idea of I thought that it was going to be easy, but because I love writing, self-motivation, no problem. I've got that incentive, blah, blah, blah. But it's not, is it?
No.
It's not easy
No,
to...
it's really not.
It's not easy.
No.
So what would your tips be to somebody like me or new writers, people that wanted to actually write a book?
Yeah.
What would your tips and advice be?
Well, I'm part of a website, Novellas, which is for teenagers mostly. So I used to intern there. So I always have people asking me
those sort of questions.
Like
I'm sorry to be such a boring question.
No, it's fine. I write blogs for them and things about this sort of thing. And my top tip is so boring, and you would hear it from every writer, which is just to not stop. Just to keep writing. So the thing about Nano that's so good is you don't have time to edit.
And you build up that momentum, don't you?
Especially if you're new to writing. Don't read back, unless you absolutely need to because you've forgotten something, or just the last bit from the previous day so you can carry on. Don't read back.
No.
Get to the end. Don't, because some people I know get stuck perfecting one chapter before they move on, but then you'll never finish it because it will never be perfect because perfection doesn't exist.
No.
So,
you're right.
the hardest thing is to finish something.
Yeah, so to get that first draft down.
Yeah, just
get those ideas
the first
down.
Draft done.
Get it out. Get it out, and not really worry too much about the whole plan of everything that's going to happen.
No, don't worry.
Have a rough idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I normally have a rough... I mean, with Nano, I think I found out sort of 3 days before November the 1st, and I thought, oh, stuff it, I'm going to have a go. Didn't give myself too much time to think about it, which was a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And really... essentially pulled out of the ether my subject matter, which is basically, is semi-autobiographical, because I found that would be the easiest thing rather than trying to sort of think too much about making something else up. So I made up a character based on me, and just went with that. Yeah. And had a rough idea of how it was going to end. Yeah. But that was the way it happened, and that's the way it's kind of continued to happen. Because, like as we said earlier, with Nano, you do find your feet, don't you? And if if it works for you, if that process works for you, which I found that it did, then that is your method of success. And as we know, with so many indie published authors nowadays that are prolific, I mean, some of them, or a lot of them, can produce a book a month.
I know.
I mean, how does that happen?
I don't know. I couldn't.
Could you do that?
I write a lot, but I only write 2 books a year because I'm so much living in it, entirely living in it. So I will think about it for months before, because I need to think about the characters. Like, before I put any words on the page, I know them inside and out. I know exactly what they're going to do.
And this is where your notes, all your 6 pages of...
Yeah, my 6 pages of...
their backstory and their characters, their traits and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
So, I need to do that first, and then when I write, it doesn't take me very long, and then usually just before the end of the book, I'll have an idea for another one, and then it starts again. Okay. So when I was younger, I used to worry, what if I run out of ideas? But it hasn't happened yet. No. I have a whole book full of ideas that I haven't got time
that
yet.
When I'm writing, once I get into that zone, that's when the ideas almost don't stop.
Me too, yeah.
And it's really hard sometimes just to switch off. Yeah, because you've got so many ideas buzzing, and I've actually been in a situation, and I'm sure you have as well, where you've got so many ideas about what to start next that you just don't know where to go. Yeah. You know, which one, and you're dithering. Yeah. And something like Nano really helped me because I had 3 days to think of something, and I couldn't dither. I had to pick something and just go for it. Yeah. So your process is, as you've just explained, and then before you finish the end of a book, you've got the idea for another one.
Yeah.
So you then start your next draft. After you've written the end, you start your next draft for your next book. Where does the editing come?
It depends what's going on, because I'll be, like, at the moment, the last book I finished was the sequel to Z.A., which still doesn't have a title. I've really got myself into a corner with that title. I don't know how one could match it, but
no, that is a good title.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be one, so I have no idea what I'm going to call the second one. So that needs so much work. I need to do another draft of it.
Oh, really?
But of parts of it. Some of it I really like, and then there's a bit in the middle. The middle's always the hardest one. Bit where it gets a bit weird. But then, so I'm still planning the next thing I'm going to write. I don't know when I'm going to start writing it, but I know until I write that, I can't really look at the last thing I've written with new eyes, because it's the best thing I've ever written, because it's the last thing I've written. And you always think that, because you're just so proud you've finished it, and you think it's amazing. And I haven't let anybody read it, because I don't want them to tell me what's wrong with it until I'm ready to hear it, and I'm not ready to hear it until I've started the next thing.
Okay.
That's how it works, because otherwise I'll be like, you're wrong, it's perfect.
Yeah. Because
it's such a huge task to write a book.
Yes, I know. So you edit all your own stuff?
Yeah.
So does it see... Do anybody's other... does it get any other eyes on it at all?
Yeah,
before it gets published?
I have certain friends and family who've always read my work.
Yeah.
And so now they've got quite good at picking up bits and pieces that I might not have seen. But also with Z.A., it's the first time ever I've asked somebody else, an actual editor, to look at it. So this was the original draft she looked at before I redrafted it. And everything she said, I thought, that's perfect. She's a genius. How come I couldn't see that? So I didn't disagree with a single thing she said. Yeah. But it was such an old draft. And I knew I needed to write it again, but I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So, but now I'll always do that, because your family and friends are fine, but they're not writers.
No.
So they can't look at things in the same way.
Yeah.
I think it's really useful. Yeah.
Yeah, and getting a professional editor, as you say, if it's the right one. Yeah. Then it's got to be enhanced. You've got to benefit from that. I mean, your work has to benefit from that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're working to get as good a quality product as you can as an author. Yeah. You're selling, and it's as much as I don't like the word product, but it is a product. The book is a product. But we call them our babies, don't we? We don't want to let them go.
No, I know.
Our creations. But at the end of the day, they are just a product, and then we've got to move on and write the next thing, because make the next product. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's where we are on Molly Looby's writing journey. So have you any idea of, after this, what's coming next? No, because you're still too deeply into that, or are you going to continue to write about zombies?
I don't know, because I thought maybe I'd do 3, but then I thought that I didn't know how long the second one was going to be. So at the moment I'm sort of exhausted with the whole zombie idea, but I'm sure it will come back, because it always does. Like, I've written that one twice, and I've written this huge thing. So I think I'll always sort of come back to it, because it's an interesting situation to put people in, to have nothing to rely on anymore, and they have to work it out themselves. They got nothing but each other to rely on. I think it's really interesting. But there's another book that I wrote originally in 2013. I rewrote it again last year, that I'm working on, which is totally different. It's sort of so hard to explain, and that's half the problem. I don't know how to sum out to people that I'm editing now. It's
fantasy?
It's no, it's sort of real life, but the people are from 2 different races, and they're totally separate, and they hate each other, and it's sort of a Romeo and Juliet sort of thing. Oh. So it's totally different. And again, that's the problem. I've drawn in readers who like this sort of horror-y stuff, and then the thing I've just written is not really horror-y at all, but I write for me, I can't help it.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you are a writer, then you are going to write, like you say, whatever you're interested in. And I think that's an important point, is that, and for me as well, I agree with that you need to write for you first, and for your audience second. Yeah. Don't you think?
I think so, yeah.
Because otherwise what's the point?
Yeah.
Because writing takes up so much time.
Oh, yeah, so much, yeah.
And how do you find your, that part of the writing life for you? Do you feel that you can sort of hole up a retreat and you're quite happy to work in that kind of solitary, confined space that is the writing space? Do you not need to have any other contact with other authors, or because I don't know about you, but the virtual world is okay. It kind of feeds a certain amount of my hunger to be with, with my peers. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's nothing beats sitting face to face with somebody physically in the flesh. Yeah. And engaging as we are in conversation and just, because that's real life as well, isn't it? It's part of it. And for me, my engaging with real life is what informs my writing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I couldn't just sit. I'd quite like to just sit in my treehouse most of the time, but it doesn't always happen. Yeah. But no, I found that with the Essex Book Festival a month ago, I mean, we went to one author talk in Southend, and it was great. I was absolutely pumped for days afterwards, just through talking to a couple of other authors, which I don't, in the flesh, which I don't always get a chance, will never get a chance to do. Yeah.
So I have a writers group that I go to in Chelmsford. I was going to say, okay. But most of the time I used to post my stuff on Novellas, the writing website, because I had an audience there so they would read my stuff and help me out, and I'd read their stuff and help them out. But the website's evolved, and the people who used to be on there have gone off to live their lives, so that's diminished a lot. So I don't have that anymore. But I still go to my writers group in real life, and it's totally different, especially because people at my writers group don't write YA. I'm the only one there who does. Okay. But then on Novellas, they were all teenagers, so if they didn't write it, they read it. So I had that, and it's interesting when someone asks me a question that I think is a ridiculous question, like, why do they do that? It's like, well, because that's what they do. And I get quite frustrated with one particular member who writes like fantasy stuff but set in the past, so he has a view about how things should be, and then when I have my books and they just totally change that, he can't get it.
Doesn't understand it.
One of the things I read a couple of months ago, it was a boy whose voice I was reading, and he thought it was a girl, and he said, that's not how boys are. And I said, how are you to say that's how boys are? And I showed it to one of my peers who I met on Novellas and have stayed friends with, who's my age and does YA as well, and she read it and she said, it sounds fine to me. So, but because he's so much older, and women do this and men do that, and really? I could not get on with that. A couple of months ago, he said something like that, and I totally disagreed. And then all the women sitting behind me went, "Yes, it was perfect."
Good for you,
I was glad they were all thinking it, but nobody came out and said it. But I won't sit there when he says things like that. It's fine for his genre if he writes in sort of medieval settings. That is how it was. Fine, but that's not how it is for me.
You don't want to get stuck in the dark ages,
no,
do you?
No,
not really. No. Moving to the modern times. Good for you, Molly.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so how often is this writing group that you go to?
It's once a month.
Once a month in Chelmsford.
Yeah, so it's quite far for me to go now because it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, from Barnard.
So yeah.
Is it helpful to you from a sort of, do you feel that connection with other authors is...
There are some members there who I really like, and we're properly friends. Even though we write totally different things, I feel like because I know them better, I feel okay saying, well, this didn't work for me, but that might be because of a genre thing, or just that might be something you need to work on. So it's good to be able to have that both ways. So sometimes when I read something, if everyone says the same thing, they had the same problem, then it's not just an opinion. That's probably a problem.
And are these right? So it's the craft basically that the group is about. It's about developing. So. Yeah, so are any of these writers ambitious like you? They want to publish, or they have been published, or are they serious about the craft?
They're not that serious. They write because they want to write. I don't think any of them... Some of them think, oh, I might publish this, or I might get around to it, but it's not in the way that I am. Yeah. So that is a problem as well, because I write so much compared to them. Yeah. 2 books a year for them is mad. One person's been working on the same book for 20 years, for 2 years, if not more, and I can't work like that.
No, of course you can't. I certainly find that. Well, I'm finding that I need to be with other people that are doing what I want to do. Yeah. That are kind of a little bit further down that road. So it gives me an incentive. It gives me, I can sort of catch hold of their their shirt tails and you know, because I think you need that, don't you? You need to be with people that are better than you, that have done what you've done, are doing what you want to do. Have been there and done that, so you can learn from them, because that's what helps us to improve. So so what about the marketing side for you?
It's so hard.
How do you find that?
I find it so difficult, because I have loads of Twitter followers. I've been growing my Twitter following since about the same time I started writing, when it appeared out of nowhere.
Okay.
And just because I like that engagement with other people, but the problem is I'll post a picture of my mum's new puppy and get 50, 60 likes in a matter of hours, and I'll post something about my book and I'll get 2. And I think, well, I don't just want to constantly bombard them with the book. If they don't want to read it, they don't want to read it. I don't want to make them. And
I know what you mean.
It's hard to get it in front of the people who might be interested. So I find I sell so many more of these in person. So when I go to schools, because it's YA, so I go to secondary schools.
Do you?
The people who are interested will buy it, and the people who aren't, they don't have to. It's totally fine. I know a lot of people don't read, and that's half the problem now. Yeah, when I was little, when I was properly a child, everyone read. That's what we all did. It's not like that now. Teenagers don't really read. Some of them do, and they read a lot, all the time, everything. You just have to find those people.
Yes, it's about targeting your audience, isn't it? And I know what you mean about the not reading bit, because my kids, my boys, they read as children. Yeah. All children do.
Yeah.
And then they hit teenagerdom.
Yep.
You know, that far and distant planet.
Yes.
Teenager. And when my youngest is still unreachable, but never mind, hopefully he'll come back at some point.
Yeah.
But my eldest one, who's 18, has... So they've had like years of not reading.
Yeah.
And then my eldest one has just started reading a fantasy novel. And, you know, the Walking Dead comics.
Yes.
Whatever gets them to read. So, and he's talking about writing and reading to me, and books and things. So I'm thinking, oh, you know, it's not too late. And maybe the youngest, that will happen for him as well.
Yeah.
But, so I think that we shouldn't sort of think that the market has been exhausted, because I think there will always be readers. It's just finding
it's hard
where they are and getting them to find you.
Yeah.
And that's where the art of marketing comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't quite mastered that, because I just care about the writing at the end of the day. I want people to read it because they want to read it.
Yes.
So that's the problem, is treating it like you have to buy this because it's great. So, well, you might like it. Yeah. I just want, if you want to read it, great, but that's the problem.
Yeah, and also the whole sort of buy my book thing. I don't know about you, but I find that difficult, but I also appreciate the fact that if we're going to be writers and we're serious writers, then we have to learn that we're not just writers, and we're publishing ourselves, then we're publishers. And we've got to learn how to market, because if we don't learn how to market, we won't sell a blooming thing.
I know, it's very tricky.
So, but it's like, you know, having all those hats, learning how to wear all those hats, and developing the skills that those hats require. And surely that can only be, we can only hone those skills by being with others that can help us, that are doing the same thing. So we need to meet again.
Yes, definitely.
Don't we? But also your dad has just, hasn't he got a book coming out?
His
zombies?
book came out in November. It's called Modern Zombies. So
Modern Zombies.
He does talks and things. It's about how everyone looks at their phones and they don't have conversations anymore. So it's about how everyone relies on email and their phones, and how people are losing the art of communication. Like if you go up to a restaurant, you see a couple having dinner, but they're both on their phones and they're not looking at each other. It's stuff like that.
I think I've seen him do one of his talks.
He's got.
I think he did a YouTube clip, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got.
I watched that.
He's done some TEDx.
Very good.
Ones. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. I need to get him in the Treehouse.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd like it. Yeah.
Would he come?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Good to talk about that. Yeah. Get in touch with him. But for now, Molly, I'm just so delighted to have had this chance to speak to you.
Yeah.
And another writer for me is always amazing for me to actually get to speak to a real writer. And you know, come back in another year's time and tell us once you've got this out.
Yes.
And maybe you'll have another first draft of your next book written.
Yeah, I will do.
Or maybe 2, you never know.
I'm not sure. I don't know. At this point, I don't know what I'm going to write for Nano this year, but I will be writing something. Don't know what it is yet, but it's months away. Don't need to panic
it's November.
yet.
Mind you, we're into.
I know, but I try and write a book in the spring, and then for Nano.
Do you?
And I haven't written my book in the spring yet, so.
Oh, okay.
But it'll be fine. I'll get it done. I always do.
Yeah. Have you done your 2,000 words today?
No, because I'm not in the middle of a book. When I'm not in the middle of a book, I try and do 1,000 during the week. It doesn't have to be 1,000 of the same thing. So blog, diary.
Oh, I see.
A review of something, just so that it's not.
But you're
so
writing
hard.
every day.
When I'm writing, I'm writing all day. 2,000 words. But then when I'm not writing, I make myself do just a bit a week. Yeah. At least.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. It's been inspiring. It's really been inspiring talking to you and listening to you. And because, as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm, old enough to be your mum, probably older than that even, I'm always open to learning from others.
Yeah.
And I think just the fact that you've been, you are committed. And to your writing is an inspiration to me. Really is, and I'm sure it is to many others as well. So I wish you all the luck for the sequel to this.
Thank you.
Let me know. We'll keep in touch anyway.
Yeah.
I want to know what the title is and whether it's one book or two.
Well, I can think of a title. Yeah. I hate titles. My dad usually comes up with them for me. I can't. I'm rubbish at titles. Yeah.
Okay.
I find that the hardest bit, and the blurb.
And what about the book cover? Will you get the same person to do the book cover?
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is a great book cover,
I'm so pleased with it.
I love it.
And once you've seen it, you might not remember, but if you see it again, you go, I know I've seen that before.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, it's across your social media channels.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's very good branding.
Thank you.
Which is another subject we could go on about.
I know.
But we haven't got time. But that's why you must come back to the Treehouse. But for now, we will say ta-ta for now. And see you next time. So thanks, Molly.
Thanks
for coming. See you later. Bye.